Hello and welcome to a journey of clarity, a personal exploration of getting in tune with yourself and in tune with others with your host, Dr. Natanael Costea. This is a journey of emotional and spiritual awareness, of discovering what life truly means, and a clear shift from an ego-driven world to a meaning-driven world. I believe we can become more in tune with our thoughts, our emotions, and our spirituality. And as we do that, we will make better decisions, have deeper connections, more fulfillment, and even more joy. This is a bit of clarity. Well, good day, Natanael here with episode 39. 39, can you believe 39 episodes? We've been journeying together and you've been part of this, so thank you so much. This podcast is going wider and wider because you are helping me and us as we do this. And I'm so grateful for you sharing this and also giving us the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and just engaging with what we're doing in a bit of clarity. Well, with episode 39, we are finalizing social awareness. So now we're bringing home this aspect of social awareness. So we've done 12 episodes on social awareness with various topics, which I will bring back a little bit in today's session. And then from next week, we are going into relationship management. Remember the 4 aspects of emotional intelligence that we are doing here at A Bit of Clarity. We spent 13 weeks on self-awareness, 13 weeks on self-management, 12 weeks with this one, 13 weeks on social awareness, and we're going to spend another 13 weeks on relationship management. So we cover the 4 aspects of emotional intelligence in this year 2021. 13 episodes on each 13 weeks, that makes 52 weeks in the year. So just to give you an overview of what we're doing. And we've been talking about various aspects, and today I want to bring it all home for us. An important podcast for you. So social awareness, just be reminded that we have show notes that go with the show, and you're welcome to download those from eq.org.au. Most of the platforms where you consume this material will have a link in the description there for you. Social awareness refers to your ability to know and feel the people around you. So it's how well are you in tune with those people around you and the ability to interact with them in the most efficient and proper manner. So when you have social awareness, you understand what people are doing, you understand what people are saying, you understand how people feel. You just, in almost every social setting, you get the climate, you get the atmosphere, you get the chemistry of what's going on. Basically, you have an understanding of people, which is very important because most of our lives we live with people. To have the social aspect, we have the social aspect in our lives, but to have social awareness of what's going on is one step further. People with a higher social awareness are able to, number 1, understand and communicate with people in a far better way. When you have a social awareness, when you are in tune with other people, when you get to know other people much better, you begin to understand them and communicate with them. Now, most courses you will do in life will be teaching you how to communicate with people, but they won't necessarily teach you how to understand people. Only through social awareness can you understand people. So to understand, obviously, there's so many skills involved, to pause, to actively listen, and we'll touch on some of these even today. But first of all, you need to have the desire to understand people. You need to want to get to know people. You need to want to see it their way. And that's when you develop social awareness. So once you understand them, you can relate with them and to them much better, and you can communicate with them. People with a higher social awareness are able to feel what they are feeling, what other people are feeling, and say the words that are the best fit for that situation. So basically, when you have this social awareness, you can feel what other people are feeling, not what you would feel if you were them, but what they're actually going through, the emotions that they are feeling. So you have an understanding of their feelings, and because you have an understanding of their feelings, you can help them, you can communicate with them, you can actually say the words that fit the situation. I know many times in my life I said awkward words that basically did not match the situation I was in. And gradually you learn and learn to pause, to hold back, and then to wait at the right time to say what needs to be said once you understood what that person is going through. People with high social awareness are also able to sense pain in others and take steps to alleviate it. So most of the people around us are hurting in one way or another. And if you are a social aware person, you are able to sense their pain and what you can actually do to alleviate that pain. And that is a beautiful blessing that you can be and have for other people and do to other people. They also feel the vibe of a group that they're going through, or they're sharing life with, or they're engaging with. And they become champions in communicating and problem solving. So people with high social awareness, they understand groups. When they go into a group setting, they begin to understand what's going on. They hold back, they try to get the language, the culture of the group. It's very interesting because 2 weeks ago, I went and trained with a new group of men who play soccer, football. And normally I play masters football, which is over 35s. So I am over 35. And we don't train much, unfortunately. At this age, you don't need to train. Well, you do need, but we don't train much because we don't have the time and we want to avoid injuries. I think sometimes we have more injuries because we don't have match fitness. Nevertheless, I went to train with the men's team. Now, these guys are a lot younger, a lot fitter, a lot stronger, and they tackle you, they challenge you. So also when I went into this setting, in this new setting, I was a stranger. I was older than them. I wasn't part of the group just yet, even though they were welcoming. So I had to somehow fit in. So rather than, coming very strongly into the group, I came humbly, just allowing them, didn't say much at all, and just sussed it out, just eased into the group and allowed them to be themselves as much as possible. And I had to fit in their culture, not them to adjust to my welcoming into their culture. So I had to understand the vibe. Obviously, their lingo is a little bit different than the masters. Their language is a bit different. They laugh at different jokes. They say different things. They communicate differently. They're more competitive as well. So I had to rise up my game as well to become more competitive. So I was fouling as well, and they were fouling me, and so many things happened. So what I'm saying here is, when you have social awareness, you get to understand whatever group you go into, how that group operates and how that group runs, and who the key stakeholders are and who the leaders are and what do they want to achieve. So having this social awareness is very, very important when you go into a new group. Also, people with a higher social awareness are able to be valued and respected for having above the average interpersonal skills. Most people who are socially aware, they know how to deal with other people. They know how to relate with other people. They know how to communicate with other people. They basically have interpersonal skills. And they value other people. They are valued. Their contribution is valued. They respect other people. Other people respect them. There's a common understanding. There's a common way of doing things for those people who are socially aware. And last but not least, they contribute towards solving their society's problems in a most effective way. All of us, in one way or another, contribute to our society, either positively or negatively. You know, if you say something to somebody or to a group of people, if it's positive, it lifts them up. If it's negative, it actually knocks them over the head. So every single one of us in one way or another contributes to the good of society or to the declining of society, morals or ethics or whatever you want to address. So we have a role to play. We are part of the fabric of society, and we have a role to play in every social setting. So just think about it. What's my role? How well am I contributing to the good of everyone? So this is just to understand a little bit of the social awareness. Now, I've listed here some building blocks, 10 of them, of social awareness. And most of these we've covered in previous episodes, so we spent a lot of time on these. But I just want to refresh them in our mind as we bring this all home together. Because I want you to become socially aware people, and I want you to become better and better at this. So, because if you become better and I become better, this whole world becomes better. Okay? So this is, I've derived these 10 and I've expanded on them before, but I want to bring them home today. Number 1, self-awareness. You'll say, Natanael, I thought we were talking about others, not about ourselves. And it's social and not self. It hasn't got to do much with the person itself. Well, you can't have social awareness unless you have self-awareness. So I said in here, knowing yourself is the first step in knowing others. You cannot understand other people unless you understand yourself well first. So get to know yourself really well, get to have self-awareness, and then you will develop the social awareness skills. The deeper you go within, the higher you climb in consciousness. So the deeper you go within yourself, the more your awareness and consciousness develops, both for yourself and towards other people. So go deep and then you go wide. Go deep first, okay? So self-awareness is an important building block of social awareness. Number 2, social intelligence. Now, if you remember, we spoke about this before. The ability to build successful relationships and navigate social environments. A social intelligent person is able to build good relationships. They know how to make friendships, they know how to build relationships with their clients, with their peers, with their suppliers, with anyone. They know how to break the ice, they know how to welcome people, they know how to close a deal, they know how to finish a conversation. They just know how to relate interpersonally. Number 3, perception, the understanding of how people think about and make sense of other people. So to become socially aware, you must have a high degree of perception. To understand that people make categories in their heads about other people, about situations. And you do that as well. So you have biases. And to understand your own biases and to understand the categories you make in your head and what you think about people, how do you perceive people, how do you see people? When you see people, what characteristics do you look for? Do you look for their looks? Do you look mainly at the way they communicate? Or do you look at their status, professional status or personal status? What perception, how do you form that perception about people? This is very important in your social awareness. Number 4, empathy, the ability to emotionally understand what other people is experiencing or other person is experiencing. So empathy has to do with your skillful ability to get to know what people are going through. Not what you think they're going through, but what they're actually going through. Whether it's real or unreal, or they see it or they don't see it, to see it their way, to empathize with their situation, to be in their shoes as themselves, not as you in their shoes. To actually see it their way. That's a very powerful skill in social awareness and in self-awareness as well, empathy. Number 5, respect, the willingness to accept people for who they are with dignity and understanding. In any social setting, respect is very, very important. To have social awareness, you must have this respect, ability to respect others, and to also receive respect. If you give respect, you will receive respect. And we touched on this before as well. Number 6, observation, the process of watching someone. We all watch people, we always look at people. How well do you observe people? To have social awareness is to have this ability to observe people, to look at a person and to understand bits and pieces about them, to make a picture, a good picture of what's going on. Number 7, active listening, my favorite one. The art of giving full attention to others in conversations. So when you talk to others, do you listen to understand or do you listen to respond? I hope you listen to understand. Active listening has to do with that ability, honed in ability to listen to understand, not just to respond. Number 8, kindness, doing good to others without seeking reward or recognition. A kind person is just always welcome in a social setting. You know, some of the people that you love to be with are kind people. So why don't you become that kind person as well, and to bring more goodness to this world? Number 9, organizational awareness, the ability to understand an organization's structures and processes. So somebody with good social awareness, they also understand the organization that they work in. They understand the processes, they understand the systems, they understand the decision makers. They have an overview understanding of what goes on in an organization. And number 10, cooperation and competition. I touched on these as well because they're important in social awareness. Finding resolutions within groups and thus strengthening their competitive edge. So cooperation has to do with what goes on in the group. So in every group setting, we want cooperation. We want the group to gel together. This is important. And in the market setting, we want them to be competitive. Within themselves, we don't want competition. We want collaboration. With the market, we want competition. We want them to be competitive. So in the social awareness, you understand who collaborates and who's competitive, and how you, obviously later on when we go into relationship management, how you can shift people from competitiveness to collaboration, to understand they're in this together. So these 10 building blocks of social awareness, they just give you a bit of an idea of how this aspect of emotional intelligence comes together. Is this important? Very important. Why? Because we are in a social setting most of the time. Most of the time you have to deal with people. You know, we wouldn't have any troubles in the world if it wasn't for people, would we? Most of the issues you will face in life has to do with relationships. So having this social awareness, relationship awareness if you want as well, it puts you in a great position to be able to handle relationships well and deal with people, which is very, very important. Application. Note now 3 ways in which you have become most socially aware than before. So after going through the last 12 plus this podcast, all these episodes, and especially after listening to some of the things that I touched on today, identify 3 ways in which you have become socially aware after listening to this or after watching this podcast. What are some ways? What triggered in you some ways for you to become more socially aware? This is important to identify in you, because if you identify these, you are likely to follow through with them. If you don't identify anything, well, that means, you know, I haven't done a good job, or maybe you haven't assimilated the stuff that I'm teaching you very well. So either I'm not doing a good job or you're not doing a good job. But I want to do a good job and I want you to do a good job. So identify at least 3 things that you've taken from this that you can apply in your life that has made you most socially aware, and you run with this. And as you do that, I pray that you become more in tune with yourself and in tune with other people. I'm Dr. Natanael Costea, and I thank you so much for joining me on this journey of clarity through emotional and spiritual awareness. If you feel blessed by this presentation, please subscribe, rate, comment, and share it wherever you're enjoying it. And until next time, this was a bit of clarity.